Hello, fathers of the world. I hope that you're having a better day than the last. Today, I want to speak about how easy it is for a woman here in Denmark to obtain the custody, or better, the residency of the children, to become the custodial parent. If I take my own case as an example, 26th of July, she takes off with the children after 5 days of me stating that I wanted a divorce because of the abuse and general neglect and child endangerment that she was causing to the children and myself. So she takes off. Day after, I already sent a few emails to lawyers. I already contacted some agencies or organizations in general. I think organizations is the more adequate way to put it. I contacted one called Kriseruimtevaart, which translates into father hit by crisis. And this was on a Saturday that I found them. They called me on a Sunday. I spoke with them, completely unexpected, because on the website it said literally that they work from Monday to Friday. But they had a standby, so he called me and he told me that the very next day I just needed to make a money transfer, and so I did, and I had 1 hour. Whew. I spent a lot of money just for that 1 hour. It was a very expensive 1 hour. Over 300 euros for 1 hour. Wow. That's not the most important part, right? It is expensive, but from there you can realize right away that it is expensive to have a family case going on. So I had the lawyers going on already, a few lawyers. I think it was 7 to 10 lawyers that I sent on the first day. Had the organizations that I contacted on the same day, on Saturday. On Sunday I had the phone call from fathers hit by crisis. On Monday I had the phone call, the video call with fathers hit by crisis organization. The jurist spoke with me for an hour. He was very kind to not charge me for 1 extra hour, I would say. And on Wednesday, 2 days afterwards, he helped me figure out the applications, the contact bewaar samvær, which is the maintaining contact application with the children, and the residency application to have the children with me. So on Wednesday we did that. Meanwhile, I receive emails from lawyers. There's one thing that is it bothers me a bit, but is expected in a way, because as a foreigner there are lawyers that automatically will not work with you, either because of language barrier, potential not paying the bills in the future. Yeah, there's some things there, but details, not gonna focus on that. But anyway, I got one lawyer. I spoke with him 2 weeks, 1 week and a half, almost 2 weeks afterwards, because he told me on the phone that it's gonna take time, there's no need for us to meet right away. He booked a date and I spoke with him. So after the applications made, I had a date with a lawyer, and when I met him, I believe it was on the 8th of August, he told me that, simply put, while the case is at the Familieretshuset, the agency of family law, there's not much to be done. I asked him, can we sue her, for example? And he said no. As if you try to do that, is seen as an attack to the mother. And generally speaking, nothing will come out of it. Yeah. To put it mildly, it was a very disappointing meeting, but he was not the only lawyer saying that, because I spoke with minimum 10 lawyers and they all said the same. Yes. Anyway, her accusations, I found out around that time, I found out that she accused me of psychological violence. Of course, that's not true. was actually the opposite. She was the one performing it, but it doesn't matter. She has no proof because it didn't happen. But the crisis center declaration becomes the proof, which is a bit ridiculous thinking about it, because it's the same of me writing a blank piece of paper with some scribbles and then send it to the authority without any proof, and because of that you cannot see the children. Yeah. Meanwhile, I had made a police report against her because of the violence she did to me on 5 days before she left, and to still today, almost 8 months afterwards, the case is active. The police stated that they are investigating something that she confirmed because she did not know that I had made a police report about that violence, and she confirmed it to the municipality. I got that confirmation, I sent it to the police, and they state we are gonna investigate the case. Starting in February, 4 months forward, they will investigate the case. Which is a bit weird in my opinion, because she has confirmed the violence. And by Danish law, Danish standards, but it's a general thing, it's not just because it's Denmark, it's international law to children's rights, for example. It states a parent that made violence or allowed the children to be witness of violence should not be with the children. And that's why my case is weird in many aspects. So there's a police case going on, there's a municipality case going on. The municipality case, they call it here barn- or ungforvaltning, which translates into child protective services in a way. They heard what I had to say. I told them I had some proof of it. They didn't care. They had children's conversation, but nothing came out of it. My eldest, I have 2 children, my eldest did not say a thing, or what he said was so basic that was not taken into consideration. But have in mind that she left on the 26th of July, and the conversation with the children, especially my eldest, started after he became 6 years old, which was in August. So was minimum of 1 month without my presence. So by the time they had the conversation with the child, he's totally manipulated, and 100% he didn't say anything because of it. That had the conversation with the pediatrician, I think would be the best translation, even though it's not 100% correct. A person that is specialized in children. Yes. So the case of the municipality was closed in December. Meanwhile, in November comes the decision, the temporary decision from the Agency of Family Law, which gave the temporary residency to my future ex-wife. The hearings we had was only written hearings. There is a mandatory, or there should be a mandatory meeting at the Familieretshuset, the Agency of Family Law, but that didn't happen, which is against procedure. But yeah, there's nothing to be done. I can complain as much as I can, which I did, but it's not going to change the fact that right now she has the temporary residency of the children. The other thing is that thanks to that temporary decision that she has the residency of the children, she grabs that decision, she starts a process on the assets court to force the division of assets we have, house, car, etc. And thanks to that temporary decision to have the children on her side, she has priority to have the car, she has priority to have the house, especially, and it's much easier for her, especially because I am a foreigner, and there's the down payment. The banks simply do not provide foreigners with the money for the down payment. There's other issues that doesn't really matter for my situation. The important part is that because she got temporary residency of the children, she gets priority to have my car and priority to get the house, especially because I cannot get the bank financing to buy the house and sell it, because I really wanted to sell the house because I didn't want to have the children back into that house where they suffered abuse from the mother. Anyway, I complained about that decision to Familieretshuset. Of course, didn't reopen the case. Instead, because they got the complaint from me, they sent the case forward to Familierat, which is the family court, the actual family court here in Denmark. And right now, it is in process. It takes a long time. And now I remember that the original Contactbewahren Samvær decision, I also made an appeal or complaint, went to the family court. The family court maintained the decision. This is very typical, unfortunately, and that's all the lawyers I spoke with. They said because she's in a crisis center, usually the applications are refused, and the family court upholds or maintains the decision that the Agency of Family Law does, which is and again is decisions made based on lies. There's no proof of something that didn't happen, but the burden of proof apparently is on the man's side. And how do you prove something that didn't happen? That's the problem. Anyway, school, daycare, they stated that everything was fine between me and the children, that I was in fact the one caring for them as a primary care person. Yeah, there was a confirmation from the police that I filed a report against her. There was my doctor's declaration that showed that I don't have any mental issue or problem to care for the children. There's so many things that I don't understand how it's possible for me not to be with the children, really. On her side, there's the police. I made a police report against her. There's reports from her old workplace and others that she used abusive force against children, which shows that she has a tendency to be abusive, to use violence against children, or at least excessive use of force. Let's put it this way to be more accurate, right? Because that's the actual name. In Danish it's called magtanvendelse. So, yeah. And some sickness she has, a mental disorder she has, overeating disorder she has, which causes her to lie, to steal, to hide things, and other things that, generally speaking, made her a danger and makes her a danger for our children. And I was worried before. I'm terrified now because I'm not there to protect the children from the things she does and from the things that she might do in the future. For example, she left the children alone by the swimming pool for a long time. My youngest fell, got hurt, and that was away at the back of the house, and she was the responsible one back then next to be with them, because I told her I go to the back of the house, you stay here with them. And my youngest fell and called for me, and I found him inside the house bleeding from the knee. So she has the police report I made against her. She has the magtanvendelse, excessive use of force against children at the workplaces she had. She had the mental problem, overeating disorder, that causes several problems with her memory and behavior, short temper, etc. It's a long list of things could have a full video about it, I think. And that has been taking a toll on children, on me. Anyway, so there's those reports that the authorities did not request from the workplace, and it bothers me that they didn't do so, because it shows that for a long time she had the tendency to have a very short temper. But that's how the authorities here are in general. They will ignore things or facts that can put the mother in a bad light. It's the easiest way to put. The result is she is shielded from the things she did while on a crisis center. She accuses me of everything she did against me and the children, and even though she has no proof because that didn't happen, the law states that she needs help, and therefore she's getting help for something that she doesn't need help. And she states that she's afraid of me, etc. Very typical. I want to make a video about the United Nations report, the full of it, just reading it or so, because I think it's very interesting, which it shows the Danish reality, but generally speaking, it applies to the rest of the world, because false accusations and the behavior she's having it applies to the rest of the world. It's really disturbing to be in it, to hear about it, and overall help for men is very limited, especially because when the authorities speak with you, and this is a part of experience, the experience as a man is very disturbing, because you stand accused of things that are not reported to the police, but even though is not reported, they are not reported to the police, it has an impact, because all the authorities that you speak with, they treat you like a criminal. They literally treat you like a criminal. They don't care what you have to say, and my experience was and is, when you have a meeting with them, by the end of every meeting, they would state something like, "Did you read what she wrote? Did you see what she stated about you?" And I said, "I did. But I cannot do anything about it. She can say whatever she wants, but it's not true." Even when the police was present in some occasions, and she forced herself into our house, which I had to change the locks because her behavior and family and friends are really something. But anyway, she lied to the police. The police came, they mistreated me verbally, and at one point I really thought that they would just put a paper in front of me and say, "Sign here so she can have the house." Anyway, the lies that she stated and states to this day without any backing up causes so much suffering, trauma. I had a trauma before from the things she did and worries. Now I have a trauma from her and from the authorities in general. There is some organizations that can help you somehow, a little bit at least, here. I think I will speak about it another time. There is a little bit of help, a little bit of hope. And in all this mess, there is only one good thing, if I can say that is a good thing. Last year, 1st of July 2024, so the same month she left with the children, was the first month that men in Denmark can have the same sort of protection and help as a woman when they go to a crisis center. So the level of help can be the same. Yeah. And that's why some organizations can help you more than before. I try to state my story and how easy to suffer lies, to be faced with lies, how to be your name be dragged in the mud. My eldest returned to school back in December. My future ex-wife decided to write a message to all the parents stating that they were at a crisis center because of me. Previously, in October, the daycare has stated, "Please do not ask our workers about the parents and the kids, so me and the children and my future ex-wife, because we cannot speak about it." And that's all fine, and that's perfect. That's how it should be, private matter, right? Because, yeah. But when she returned my eldest to school, because at the time in December she already had a temporary decision which forbids me from any contact with the children unless via the Familieretshuset. And also to make sure she would get the car, because she would claim that she needs the car to drive the kids back and forth to work and etc. And then she wrote a message to all the parents informing them that the kids were not present and they haven't been seeing us because they are at the crisis center because of improper behavior. So yes. So you put crisis center and improper behavior together, I think most people will paint a picture of, especially when it's the man, right? Like violence or something awful. Because what else would you think about, right? So, social isolation, trauma, so much she has done to me. And on top of it, socially isolating me from everyone that I know based on her lies. And that's how it is to be a father in Denmark.